Alright, let's go. So Captain America Brave New World just came out, and I got to say this movie is the most normal movie I have ever seen in my entire life. This movie isn't very daring, so as can be expected, there's nothing that happens in this movie that is going to make any Marvel fans satisfied at any capacity. I'm going to jump straight into spoilers because I'd imagine most of you did not watch this movie. And don't lie to me, I have proof. Now to start things off, one very off-putting key point of this movie is that surprisingly it's a sequel to the 2008 Incredible Hulk movie. And I'd imagine most people who watch my videos have seen that movie, but the movie came out fucking 17 years ago. And I guess there's really nothing wrong with that. I mean, I've watched movies that have had a decade overdue sequel, but in this particular case it's very off-putting because that Incredible Hulk 2008 movie wasn't ever in the MCU even at that point that it came out. So in good shitty MCU sequel fashion, we have a main villain who was also in the 2008 Incredible Hulk movie, this dude. But before I get to that, I want to talk about the rest of the movie. Now the movie actually starts off pretty well in my opinion. It lays the foundation and sets the plot in motion pretty effectively, but the main plot revolves around this guy being mind controlled and being forced to commit a series of crimes and then being wrongfully imprisoned for it. And strangely, everyone else in the movie learns pretty quick that it wasn't him that did this. Everyone figures out that he was mind controlled, which is pretty weird, but that also eventually sets Sam on this quest to get other military officials to help him break out of prison. And meanwhile that's happening, there's also an arm race going on with Japan. And around the same time we're introduced to Harrison Ford. And here's one thing I gotta give this movie credit for. Harrison Ford actually does a pretty damn good job with this character. If anything, he's the only character that is really given a good script, because sadly, even though this is Sam Wilson's movie, the biggest obstacle in this Captain America movie is the script. See, because this is a political thriller movie that is afraid to get political or give any political statements. It's afraid to do anything daring with Sam Wilson's character, because the movie reprises many elements from the Captain America and Winter Soldier TV show, to the point where one would think that this movie is a sequel to that show, but it's not, because for whatever reason they had to make a sequel to a movie that came out in 2008. And the biggest issue this movie has is that there's nothing for Captain America to do anymore. There's no big purple alien with space rocks anymore. There's really nothing for this character to tackle. So it makes sense for this movie to get political, as we've seen many times in the Steve Rogers Captain America movies. But I just told you that this movie, it does not get political at all. The movie was also reshot and re-edited God knows how many times, and I don't think reshots are bad, but once you hear about a whole different ass character being introduced into a movie by the reshoots, it kind of gives the audience the idea that the script was as solid as the last act of this movie. If this movie was just solely focused on Sam Wilson not being accepted as Captain America, I think this movie would have done a lot better. Because I think everyone who has seen Sam Wilson take on the mantle of being Captain America, no one really believes that he is Captain America. It's kind of been my job for the last year to keep up with the mess of a movie universe, and ever since I've been doing that, I had to go back and rewatch those shitty ass TV shows we got a while back, and since then I have not for a second in my mind believed that Sam Wilson is Captain America, and I don't think I'm alone in thinking that. The other movies love Steve Rogers, and here it feels like everyone who worked on this movie had the same mindset I do when it comes to Sam Wilson. There have been two different characters that have been Captain America, and neither of them made me think that they were Captain America.
You're not Steve Rogers.
You're right.
I'm not. This is supposed to make us feel better.
And to get back to the actual movie, unless you've seen the trailer, the twist of this movie is spoiled right from the get-go. I said this earlier in this video, but this is a political thriller with a twist that is spoiled by the movie poster and by the trailer. And I think the movie would have done better if the twist was not spoiled by the trailer, because the twist is obviously Harrison Ford becomes the Red Hulk, and this happens by someone fucking with his medication. But I think it would have been a lot cooler if Red Hulk was the surprise villain. It would have made the last act of this movie a lot better. I already spoiled enough for you, but just to add the cherry on top, most of the Red Hulk fights are in the trailer. So if you haven't seen this movie and you're expecting a lot of Red Hulk fight scenes, well, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but there's not much that isn't already in the trailer. And anyways, the other villains' motives and plans make no sense, and Captain America Brave New World is the most normal movie I have ever seen before. And yeah, it's a short video, but that's about it.
This was a coordinated terrorist attack, sir.